A new study by Montreal researchers about action video games indicates that habitual players may be more at risk for developing certain brain diseases. The research was just published in the Journal of Molecular Psychiatry. And Cindy, why did the researchers decide to do this study?
Well, the researchers, one of whom is an associate professor at the Université de Montréal and the other who is a professor of psychiatry at McGill, wanted to learn more about the impact of action games in particular on the brain. There have been studies that have shown some positive effects actually in the past. They say, though, that they are the first to show a negative impact on a part of the brain called the hippocampus. And to do this study, what they did is they trained players on two types of games for 90 hours. They trained them on 3D platform type games like Super Mario Brothers, for example, and also they trained them on first-person shooter games, Call of Duty. And what they did was they scanned their brains before and after. They also had a control group, and what they found was that people who favored a certain kind of strategy when they navigate these games, called a response strategy, those people, and there were a high number of them, actually they discovered that there was a loss of gray matter in the hippocampus. And this matters because if there is a depletion in that part of the brain, it shows that people are at risk in general for PTSD, for example, for depression when they're younger, and when they're older, for dementia, even Alzheimer's. So they say that they have proved a causal relationship there. Here now is Professor Greg West to explain a bit more and to explain perhaps how people can mitigate the risk.
The hippocampus is an important biomarker of cognitive health, so the hypothesis is that if we're doing things in our daily lives that are depleting that structure, we could be at risk for problems in the future. And so we should always encourage ourselves to actually stimulate our hippocampus.
Now, what's interesting is that the 3D platform games, however, showed benefits for absolutely everyone with regards to cognitive development. So what they're doing here is they say their study urges sort of a note of caution about action games. Back to you.
Interesting. Thanks a lot, Cindy.